Welcome to the Game of Life podcast, where we bring you inspiring softball stories, insightful tips from coaches and players, and explore how the game transcends its boundaries to become a metaphor for life. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, a casual fan, or someone just looking for inspiration, you're in for a treat. We'll unravel the tales that go beyond the scoreboard. Discover how perseverance and hard work on the field translates into resilience in your daily challenges. Learn about teamwork, leadership, and the unwavering spirit that fuels success, not just in sports, but in the game of life. Hi, everyone. We are back. Game of Life podcast. Exciting episode. The greatest thing about this podcast stuff is sometimes we've never met our guests before we hit record. And as always, we were having a lot of good conversations and we're like, hey, we got to hit record. We got to get going. So welcome, Sarah, Miss Sarah Cornell. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, everyone. How are you guys today?
Good. Yeah,
Good,
super
good.
excited to have you.
Me too. I'm excited to be here.
Why don't you, we always think about a different way. Why don't you give us a brief background, go back as far as you want? I mean, we're not going to cut you off, so it doesn't have to be brief either. But, tell us what you've been up to and what you've done and who you are, and then we'll get the ball rolling with a bunch of questions and good conversation.
Sure. All right. Where do I start? It's hard to think back to my college days sometimes, but um, yeah. Hi, my name is Sarah Cornell, and I've been playing softball pretty much my entire life. I first started off at Hofstra University in Long Island, New York, and I spent 2 years there, and then had a kind of like a coaching change my sophomore year going into my junior year, and then I decided to transfer to the University of Alabama, and I spent 3 years there, having a COVID year through that process. Um, and yeah, just kind of crazy how that kind of all unfolded. I didn't really expect that. I guess going into college, like, oh, I might transfer. I guess sometimes you get to a college and you're like, oh, maybe I could go somewhere else, or whatever. But um, what I mean, once in a while that would come up, like, oh, what if it's if the grass is not always greener on the other side, though. Like you can't always like be like, oh, you know I want to go here, but you don't know what the situation is in that program is. But anyway, so yeah, so we had a coaching change my sophomore year, and I decided that I wanted to open up into transferring, but there was no transfer portal when I was a going into my junior year, so it was kind of hard. I had to go through a couple obstacles for me to be able to transfer out of Hofstra. That was hard. That was difficult, but I didn't really know what the process was either, because I don't know. I had my parents helping me a lot through that. I There's a lot of technical things that were happening, and a lot of colleges had kind of more of a grip on you than they do now. Now it's just kind of open. You can transfer every year if you really want to, um, which is nice for the athlete, because it's kind of their decision now, where it's not like in the hands of you know the college to hold you back from your dream, your passion, or getting out of a situation that you don't want to be in. So yeah, left there, and I just kind of started emailing teams, and I was just kind of went through a list of like kind of where I wanted to go, where I wanted to be, where I saw myself. And it's funny, when I was in high school, I would talk to kids, and they'd be like, well, why are you going to Hofstra University? Like, why didn't you go to Alabama or something? I'm like, you know what? I've always wanted to go there. So when I ended up transferring, I emailed them, and they were the first ones that I heard back from, and they were like, I'm sending you on a flight here. You're gonna meet us here. Like, within 2 days, I was in Alabama, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, um, it was I went with my dad, and I was like, Dad, like this is it. This is where I want to end up. This is where I want to be. And it was like a dream come true. I had actually watched YouTube videos when I was younger of the 2012 team. They've made YouTube videos of just them dancing and singing, and I was like this feels like something like a family, this feels like something I would want to like have like be a part of. So I think that's just kind of what the decision was of me like picking Alabama or choosing it and wanting to go there. And that's really the start of all of it. But yeah.
No, that's awesome. Go ahead, Dad. I can see you're saying.
I wanted to go back real quick. What was your travel journey like? Like, did you play local teams and more regional or national teams? Could you just tell us?
Like travel ball you're talking about?
Yeah.
So I was on honestly a bunch of different teams. Like when I was a seventh grader, I was on varsity. So as soon as like that happened, my parents were like, okay, you need to be around people that are, playing at a different, like a higher level, which I was playing up then. So, that year I played on a team, like I was 12 years old playing on an 18U team. Like it was honestly scary. I mean, I was just like kind of, following along. My mom would take me to the tournaments, and, I think it was called like Long Island Select at the time. And I was on that team, and they practiced hard, and I didn't really understand what was I was just, I was just going with the flow. I didn't really understand all these girls were like looking for colleges, and I was just, trying to be a seventh grader, hang out with my friends. Like it was just like it was hard. It was hard because I didn't connect. I couldn't like find a common ground of other than playing softball. But so I played on that team, and then I went to Team Long Island right away at again 12 years old. So after that team, I was like, all right, I need to find like an organization that I can play with girls that are a higher level, and played with them from 12U to literally 23U. Like the girls that I played with I still talk to them till today. Like those are my, like, honestly, my best friends. And but even then I was finished out our 14U season, and then the manager of the organization was like, you need to play up, like you need to play up. And I didn't want to leave my friends, so all of like 16U I played with 18U girls, and like I was like it was so sad because I mean I'd be at the same tournament as all of my friends, and I go and watch their game, and I feel like I lost that time with them. Like I wish I would have been able to be around my friends, but that's just like something you have to sacrifice if you want to make yourself better by playing with people that are better. My 16U team was great. No shade, but yeah, they just wanted me to play up a little bit more and get more experience with girls that were, that I could play and make me better, honestly, because yeah.
No, it's great. Sorry, Ellie. The only reason I wanted to ask that is because so many people, when they're younger, think you're going to get on this team with your friends and just play together all the way through and live happily ever after. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if you want to get better, something we'll talk about later, you have to reassess every year, and you can remain friends with all those people, but you're going to encounter new friends and new challenges along the way. That's why I always ask that.
Right. Yeah. No, yeah. It was definitely hard to leave them, but it was like, if it was something that was going to benefit me, I was like, all right, I'm on board, like with this. Like I could deal with this for a summer, and then once they go to college, then I can, hang out be with my friends again, play with them for one last year, before we all, grow up and go to college. So
yeah, I was gonna say something similar along the lines of, I think sometimes it's hard to kind of change teams with your friends, but at some point, like you have to say, are my goals the same as them anymore, right? Like am I on the right path for me? And are you on the right path for you? Because I coach travel softball too. And that's something I try to tell my girls. Like, if your goals change, that is 100% okay. Like, not everyone wants to play in college. And if your answer is no, like, that's okay. But we gotta try to be honest, like, with ourselves about what you want to. So I love that you said that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's so weird. You think back into like your college years and you're like, oh, I wish I would have changed this. I wish I would have thought this way. Wish I would have done this, and I'm glad that I did like make the decision to like do that, because if I don't surround myself with people that are better, then like I'm not going to progress. Like I'm just going to stay the same, and I'm just going to, flatten out. But in that same situation, when you're in 16U, you kind of figure out, okay, what do I want to do? Like, do I want to go to college? Do I not want to go to college? Am I D1, D2, D3? Like all those decisions are okay. Like I feel like sometimes too, like your friends could be going D1 and then you're like, oh, I'm not D1. I'm not, but it's okay, because there's always, the conversation of there's a place for everyone. There seriously is a place for everyone. Um
Yeah.
and and then you just have to figure that out while you're in that position.
Yeah. So I guess transitioning into your college years a little bit, right? So you're done with travel, you're done with high school, you're going to Hofstra, right? Super exciting. What was that transition like for you? Do you feel like playing up kind of helped you set the stage for that first year? In a way of like playing with older girls, I guess.
um I think yes. I think I learned a ton when I got to Hofstra, or when I got to college. I was not prepared as I thought I would be, I guess. And I wish, again, I'm gonna say I wish a lot during this, but I just wish I would have like known that like then. Like meaning, I guess, like mentally, physically, emotionally, just the whole nine yards. Like I was not prepared for like the whirlwind, I guess.
Yeah.
Softball wise, yes, but like school, all of that comes with it, no, not at all, I guess. And I had to figure that out, and I had to figure out what worked for me through like getting there. I definitely struggled my freshman year, just honestly with everything, just whether it was like figuring out time to eat, figuring out time to, see my friends or hang out, or, have like the kind of a balance between softball and my homework and all of that stuff. I mean, that kind of just comes with everyone. I feel like, everyone's trying to figure that out, but I was just like kind of shell shocked. I was like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
Um, but um, but playing wise, yeah, I felt like comfortable on the field. I felt like I, could do it. And but that first year probably was very challenging for me. Why? Just I guess why I'm saying like I wish. I guess like maybe like the um just like the outside of softball, just like the working out part of it. I would work out here and there before it, but it was never as intense as like it was when I got there. I didn't realize how kind of out of shape I was. They definitely got us in shape, but meaning like I I didn't even know how to like pick up a weight. You know what I'm saying? And I wish that I would have like done that in college. I mean, in high school, like had like a class that was like, okay, this is how you lift this. This is, so I had like more preparation, I guess. That's on my own fault, maybe too. I could have went to, wherever, but um, that was one of the main things that I was like, what did I get myself into? What's going on? Um,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I think it's crazy because pretty much freshman year, like you're the busiest you've ever been in your life. No matter what you do to prepare yourself through that, I don't think you can be fully prepared from my experience as well. And that's okay. I remember I used to call my dad during college and be like, not complaining, but just like, I'm exhausted. And he's like, you realize what you're doing isn't normal, but it seems normal because everyone else around you is doing it too. So I think it's kind of a mental factor of this isn't an option. Like, this is just something I have to do every day. It's part of my life.
Right. Yeah. And you see everyone else just like coasting by. You're like, is anyone else feeling this right now? Is it just me? Like, am I the problem? Like, what's going on? I agree with that. Like everyone just like, it was just their normal day. And I'm like, no one else is struggling here. It's just me, No.
There's really no other sport like it. What you guys go through, especially in the spring, you get on a plane and you fly somewhere for a day or two, play a ton of games, try to get some work in, and then Monday you're back in class like it's nothing, you know?
That was honestly the worst. Like you go to Florida for a weekend and you're enjoying, whatever, the palm trees, the sun, and then it's like, oh, back to New York where it's kind of snowy and gray and it's, it didn't and then just yeah, sitting down in a chair trying to listen like to a class, you're like I don't know. It was hard to flip a switch, but obviously we did it, but yeah. I agree with that. Just going away and then coming back and you're back to reality. It's like, oh, I
Right.
don't know. It was like definitely the hardest thing to do for sure.
Yeah, I think it definitely sets you up for life though, too, of just you're not afraid to do hard things. You're not afraid of working hard at things. It's just your normal at that point. You're like, if I can do this, I can do anything.
No,
Almost.
seriously. I know. No, to harp on that, I thought more about my college days too and like talking about Hofstra and Larissa Anderson was our coach and she said like you got to play when you're tired. You got to play when you're hurt. You got to play, play through it all. And I kind of just like leave that in my head now. Like I got to work when I'm sick. Like I wake up and I make the choice to go and do that. Although not the best thing to do to get everyone else sick, but like I'm just saying like you have to push through and you have to persevere. Like you have like I think that's why I have that mindset of like okay, you're tired, do it anyway. Like you just have to like put yourself in a mindset. And that prepared me for life because if I didn't have that conversation, I would have woken up and been like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to work today. No, you don't have an option. Like you have to go. You have to make money. So um that's
Definitely.
one thing that I like I don't know, that always like has stuck out to me and like something like I live by, I guess,
Yeah,
from then, but yeah.
definitely.
It's frustrating when I see it in younger people when as soon as something gets hard, they think that's the limit and they don't realize that you could push through it. I always joke with people that when I'm on my morning walks and a dog comes running at me and there's an invisible fence there, it just stops, right? If it would push through that 5 seconds of pain, it would be the freest dog in the world running all over the neighborhood. And I think that's what sports and athletics teaches people. You guys could tell story after story about your hamstring hurts or this muscle hurts or you're sick or your knees banged up or you've been spiked in the ankle and it's not an option to stop doing it.
Yeah, no, it's
You
not.
you get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I mean, I know, gosh, there I just made it sound like it's horrible what you guys did for a living. I don't
Oh
mean
yeah.
that.
Oh, the
No.
part, yeah, the part we haven't touched on either is you're surrounded by awesome community as you're
Yes.
doing it. That is your team because
Yeah.
they're all in it with
Oh
you.
yeah.
And Sarah, I don't know if you feel this way, but it's like after graduating, you like seek to find people like that, like a community like that
Yes.
again. Yeah.
Yes. No, 100%. Like, um, I honestly, I've like struggled. I mean, moved back home after college. Uh, and I just like, I mean, some of my friends were still here from like my travel team, and those were like my people, the people that I like want to be around, um, and then they all started to move away, and then I like lost that like where are my people at, where are my like friends at, and actually like I found a group on Instagram that was out of it's out of New York City and they are like alumni athletes and from all over the place and they do hangouts, they do meetups, they do classes, they do runs. Like I was like, this is like, and I ended up going to one of the events because I was like, this is who I want to like surround myself with. I want to be around people that like want to be better. They have the same values as me. They have the same mindset as me. And their Instagram is actually, it's called Athlete X. And yeah, I just have been craving like that, that like one step ahead kind of person, um it's really hard to find people like that. There's people show some traits like that, but then it's not like an athlete though. An athlete has a different mindset than most people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
What
But
what was the name of that page?
it's called Athlete X.
Like the letter X or EX?
The letter X.
Okay, that's just
Oh,
cool.
that's actually a fair question. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they're awesome. So the event was, we all went to an Islanders game, and it was, I just got to talking with people. There was volleyball players from Harvard. There was I forget where everyone else was, honestly. Oh, there was a kid that went to Hofstra and played baseball, and I didn't even know he was the same year as me. And I was like, hey, I don't even think we've ever talked to each other before, and it was just nice to like, you know, what's the next step? There was people that were my age. I'm 26, and then there was people that were older than me, and they were in the same position too. They're like, or they were like 30, and they were like trying to figure out like, kind of where they fit in, So yeah. I thought it was a good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I guess transitioning to on the field a little bit too. We've been talking about off the field. So when you got to Hofstra, I guess what was kind of your initial role right away? And then did that role change after you transferred?
What was my initial role? I think so. I'm trying to remember.
Making you think.
I'm blanked out there. I don't even know what I was thinking. It was, I didn't really know. I guess I didn't really know what my role was at that point in time, since I was just, I was just a freshman. Just didn't, but I knew I didn't want to act like that. I didn't want to be just another freshman. I wanted to be like someone they could rely on, they could trust. Like I was kind of put into the role of kind of the starting pitcher, honestly, because I don't know. I think their pitcher graduated the year before. Morgan Lashley, actually, yeah, she graduated the year before, and they went to the regionals and stuff like that. But I kind of was like forced to like grow up more because I was playing a lot of the game. I was like I said, I was kind of like the starting pitcher role where alongside like Alyssa Irons, like we were like just like the 1-2, like we would just back and forth. But for the most part, I was taking most of the heavy load of it, and it was hard. I mean, like I going into college and having to be the starting pitcher was difficult. I mean, I didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to, I didn't want to be like the cause of, kind of everything. So it kind of came down on me. I didn't really like let that bother me. Probably the next year, because I was still kind of in like travel ball mode, like, oh, this is fun, I love softball, woo. And then like it became, not that it became work, but it was like, oh, we kind of made it pretty far this year, the last year. Like, okay, like what can I, do to continue this? So then that summer, going into my sophomore year, I would go to Hofstra every morning, take my mom's car and go work out every morning. Like I definitely like took the role of like, okay, I need to like take charge, like, because I was like I said, put into that role. So worked out every morning at 6 a.m. in the summer. It was beating hot, just like I worked my like tail off that whole summer, and like it definitely paid off. Like that year, I ended up winning CA Pitcher of the Year.
Woo!
And
Yeah.
yeah, and like it was just like it was like wow, like all I put like all that time and all that like work that I put in like paid off, you know. And that year was hard too because unfortunately we lost Alyssa Irons. Just she um had some, you know, whatever, just life going on, and she just thought, you know, the best decision is just to move back home. So that's, you know, um and it was so sad. Like she was like, she's my best. She like I wish we would have finished out school together, uh but no, like I said, like just life goes on, and you know, you can't always think about the sport. You have there's other, you know, life, other things going on too. So but so then it was just me and then Sophie Dandola, and it was just us two back and forth that whole year. And I remember our first or second tournament, it was at Florida State, and I had to pitch 3 or 4 games that weekend, and I found a different level of like grit. I I can't believe I even did that. I just remember how like exhausted I was because we came off the Florida State game. We ended up winning it, and it was like it was a 10 inning game. So I think I pitched a full
Jeez.
7 innings or 8 innings. Yeah. And then Sophie finished it out, but it was it was grueling, honestly. Like they're like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like I just like seriously like dug deep and found, like I said, another level. It got easier as like the year went on, but the first 2 weekends of like pitching, I don't even know how many innings. Oh shit, I don't even know. It was just it was a lot. It was a lot, but yeah.
I think,
Did you?
go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Ellie.
I was gonna say, I think to your point too of sharing your story those first 2 years, it's crazy how no matter what role you have on a team, there's gonna be adversity in it, right? If you're a starter, it's hard in its own way. If you're sitting the bench, it's hard in its own way. If you're injured, it's hard. If you're coaching, it's hard. Like I think it's so easy to say, oh, I'm on the bench. Oh, I want to play. How could they possibly have any adversity? They're playing every game, right? And I think it's just so important to understand that no matter what role you have, you're going to go through it at some point in some aspect.
Yeah, yeah. No, just to talk about that. I mean, so when I got to Alabama, I mean, again, I was put in a role of another just like a 1-2. So it was Montana, then it was me my junior year, and then after that, I had been just kind of I don't know how to like exactly say it. I guess just like kind of not put on the bench, but I was just my role was different. My role switched to not, you know, playing as much. And then, yeah, I definitely had adversity through that. Like going from playing every game or knowing that at least I'm going to get in one game, and then, you know, to a role where you're just kind of watching, you're like, how did I get here? How did this happen? You know? But so speaking just of adversity, uh I definitely know the difference between playing and not playing, and it's hard to go from one to the other or vice versa. um yeah, no, it's hard, but it's just, you know, it's just life.
Game of life. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
No, I think that's so talk to me about so I think anyone who looks at your stats is going to know that you had a very successful career. So I will say that for you. I think during your time at Alabama, like talk about what that was like playing at literally the highest level,
Right.
succeeding at the highest level. I guess give us kind of the inside scoop, I guess, per se,
Sure,
on that
sure, sure,
aspect.
sure. No, it was nothing shy of just like exactly what you ever pictured it to be, honestly. I got to make so many new friends. I got to make so many new relationships. I got to play against the best, players in the world. Like, what more could you like want, and it was again another hard transition. Like me moving from my comfortable state of New York, Long Island to Alabama was pretty. I didn't really. It wasn't scary. I didn't like think like, oh, is anyone gonna like me? It was more of like a culture shock. It was like just different. People are different. They're not nice. Like they just have it's definitely the Southern hospitality of like everyone's nice to you. And I learned that, and I like that I learned that, because honestly I come home and I go to work and I say hi to everyone. I like can't help myself but like say hi. Like I want to acknowledge like the person, that is in front of me. I hate when we're, I don't in New York, we really don't like, if you see someone on the street, you just, there they go. They're doing their own thing. I'm doing my own thing. But down there, they say hello to you. I walked around Walmart and someone would, you like just hello. You see me, I see you. And but sorry, I'm losing track.
No. There's so much to talk about. No, it seems like Alabama was a great experience. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So no, yeah. So getting there was just awesome. Felt very welcoming. As soon as I committed there, I had the whole team texted me. They said, "Hey, so happy you're part of the team. Roll Tide. Like, I'm so happy. I can't wait to meet you." Like I was like, wow, like that was awesome. Like everyone reached out to me and said hello. Like that's awesome. Like that was a great feeling. That was like a nice, like just an awesome welcome before I even got there. So that was like my first impression. I was like, this is gonna be fun. But again, so then going into the season and stuff, I think I was very well prepared from, like I said, those workouts that we were doing at Hofstra. I was like overly prepared. Like I was like, wow, like this is like, I don't know, like I was, I guess, again, New York people are just like New Yorkers, excuse me,
We
not
get you. Yeah, we get you. Don't
New
worry.
Yorkers. We just move at a different pace. So like when I got down there, I was like, just like I was ahead of everyone. I was ahead of the curve. I was at weights before everyone else. I was the first one to touch the line and come back when I was on the run. Like I was the first one to start stretching. I was and that was just like the standard that I held myself to. Like I was like, I'm gonna be first in whatever I do. Just to like, I don't know, just to like put the nail, I don't know, just like, I don't know why I did that. It's just something I did. I don't know, but
Well, it's important. Obviously, you continued to get better when you left high school. And we were talking about that a little before the podcast. And so many people think once you finally get signed or go to college, the hard part's over. For you guys, the hard part was only beginning. And you seem to embrace it really well. And like you just seem to always be wanting to get a little better, a little better, a little better. And you keep expanding those comfort zones. Do you want to speak about that a little?
yes. Um I'm excited to talk about this now because I'm gonna add my notes into this, but yeah, I just was not satisfied, I guess. I wanted more. I never wanted to, like I said, just like plateau or stay the same, or kind of just what I was touching about or talking about on some of my notes. I talked to you about before we started the recording, but how I was watching just some Instagram videos, and I don't want to butcher her name. I think her name is Kelsey I don't know how to say her last name, but anyways.
Put it in the episode description. Yeah.
And she just like, this was one of them. It said like, do it anyways. Like you're tired, do it anyways. Like you don't want to stretch before practice. Like you don't want to stretch after practice. You don't want to meal prep. Like do it anyways. That's kind of what like separates yourself from the good and the great. Like you have to put yourself in a mindset of like, I want to be better. And that's why kind of the topic I wanted to talk about was just like being 1% better. Like how do you set yourself apart from other people, or how do you set yourself, up for success? And then there was another video I watched of Julie Vorse, I think her name is, and she talked about this I don't know. She talked about TNT, and it's called Takes No Talent. So that's along the same lines of, are you gonna walk off the field, or are you gonna run off the field? Are you going to show up to the game 2 hours early before anyone else, or you're just gonna stroll in and just put your uniform on and hop out there and you're fine? Are you gonna take the time to take care of your body? Are you gonna take the time to do those little things correct, or you're gonna be average? So that's kind of where I try to set myself apart from that. Just do little things to make my big thing easier, or my big goals easier, because it's hard to have goals, and it's hard to strive for that next step, but you need to do the little things correct before you have a chance at the big thing. And the big thing might be winning an award, winning a national championship, whatever that may be. If you don't do small, tiny, little minuscule things, then it's gonna, it's not gonna work out. So
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. I think too, like sometimes doing those little things is how you become a leader without even knowing it. Because now people are watching you, everything you do, and they're like, wow, I really admire that. And it's just might be mundane tasks for you that you're not even thinking about, but then it helps create the culture for your program. And then the underclassmen think it's normal. Like it's just such this cycle from the sports perspective. It also goes for life, but from the sports perspective, I think it's really special too.
You
yeah.
guys are definitely talking my language. I mean, the quote we like, Allie, is how you do anything is how you do everything. And it's exactly what you're talking about, Sarah. And I always get a giggle when people are like, I'm a gamer or she's a gamer. Well, usually they're gamers because they're a gamer every minute of their life and doing all those little things. Very, very rarely, if ever, does somebody not put in the work and then just deliver. It's not how it works.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, no, you have to, like, you have to do these small details. Like you can't just fly by with talent. You have, if you have talent and you do these little things correct, you're unstoppable. Like you can do anything at that point. Like I feel like as people know that they have talent and they're like, oh, I'm good, I'm great, I'm great. But if they don't hit their potential of using, you know, again, like I said, those little things that you do every day, you can be better. You're not even reaching your potential yet if you just coast by with just your talent, because it could get you somewhere, but it's not going to get you, again, like I said, to your full potential.
I think that's why sometimes you see, girls at the highest level doing everydays, infield everydays, hitting off the tee. And I'm like, why do you think they're still doing them? Because they make a difference. And I think it's so crazy.
No, 100%. Yeah. No, you have, like, I was just taught we have to make sure, even in like practice, like, again, this is at Hofstra when I was working, going there, same thing. We just did ball every day. I'm sure Michaela has talked to you about that. Just like ball every day is making sure your mechanics are sound. Like if you're not doing them the correct way in practice, how do you think you're gonna like perform in the game? Like you have to do those small little details and work on everything Because if you get in a game and you're like, well, I don't know how to handle this situation, then it's setting you up for failure. You're not prepared for the game if you're not practicing it in practice, you know? But
I guess
You
one more question I had, and then Dad, I'll turn it to you. So I guess playing at the highest level, right? What did you learn about being a good teammate? Because I'm sure like every girl is good at that level, right? I guess what kind of dynamic did you have, whether it was Hofstra, Alabama, of like traits that you liked from your teammates that made you feel empowered, or like things that you tried to do to be a good teammate?
absolutely, yeah. I think that just comes from a little bit like how you're raised. My parents have always taught me to be a friend to anyone, be there for anyone. So I think it just comes from that. That's how I like have become like the teammate that I was. And I think I just I think when you get to a higher level and you know that you're talented, a lot of girls can, be a little standoffish and but I never wanted to be that way. I never wanted to be, oh, don't go near her, I wanted to be talented and I wanted to be a friend. I wanted to be a good teammate. And kind of what that looked like, I guess, was just like just not I think I guess when I'm thinking of like a good or bad teammate, I would think of like I guess frustration comes to mind. Like if you're a bad teammate, I feel like people wear their emotions on their sleeve and kind of think, oh, me, like, oh, what's happening to me? But I think when you get frustrated, you have to pour into your teammates and like use that frustration as motivation. Like I struck out. Okay, you know, I would if I did something wrong. Oh, I would chat my teammates up instead of thinking about what I did wrong. Like I would just be like, just cheer on your teammates. Like this is not about you. This is about everyone. So I think that's where when I guess when it would get hard for me that I would kind of flip a switch and just be like, this is not about you. Like obviously there was points when I got frustrated, but you can't let that happen like in a game because people feed off of your energy and like if I'm like the ringleader of the circus, I'm in the circle, right? So not the circus, but like I guess I think of it like that. If I'm the ringleader, they're seeing what I'm doing 24/7 like in the circle because I need to show some sort of, you know, energy. Like I cannot I was like like I was fired up all the time. Like I just like I screaming and yelling and that's just like how I played. And like if I don't play like that, then that's not me. I know if I, you know, tried to hide that or tried to like condense that. Um Actually, I didn't even talk about I played I played overseas after college and then I played I'm sorry, I didn't even bring that up.
No, there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, I
yeah,
played
yeah, yeah.
in college and then I just played on the pro team. So I'm wearing it right now, but the New York Rise. And I'm just thinking to this past summer when I was playing, I was trying to be composed and I was trying to be not myself. And that was probably just the worst thing for me. I didn't want to be who I was in college and that wasn't how I play. I play loud and I'm happy and I'm cheerful. And like when I was going on the mound, I was just trying to be like stone faced and like not show my emotions. Um and that just wasn't me. So I know that like when I'm out there and I'm just like giving it my all and yelling and screaming and get fired up, that's like me. But back to talking about being a good teammate, I try to put people underneath my wing too. So when I was at Alabama, I was older, but I was still new. So I was a junior, but I still had people that were younger than me and they were looking up to me. So like Montana Fouts, like I feel like I definitely took her underneath my wing that year. I think we kind of just used each other because like I said, we were like a back and forth. We were just the 1-2. And I needed to support her as much as she was supporting me. I didn't want her to ever feel like we were competing against each other, because it was never like that. And sometimes when you're in college, you're playing for the same position from somewhere. And it's hard to not envy another player because they're in the same position as you. But in this case, we had each other, and that there was other pitchers as well, but we were the main two that were throwing most of the games. And she and Crystal Goodman was also pitching as well, but I never wanted her to feel like I was a threat. I always wanted her to be like, this is my teammate. This is like, we're in this together, you know? And it's really hard to find that in college, where it's someone, like I said, someone's in the same position as you, and you're fighting for a chance on the field. So it's like, it's a fine line of, you know, can I be friends with them? Can I trust them? You know, and I always wanted her to feel like we are on the same team. We need each other, you know, and that's really hard, again, especially when you're in a role like that, or even when you're a pitcher, because there's a lot of pitchers on the team sometimes, and you know, you don't always get that chance to get on the mound, you know, and then spirals from there. But yeah.
It's you said something earlier that I highlighted that you've just been explaining and proving you meant it. You always wanted more, you were never satisfied, but it clearly wasn't built off of jealousy. It was just built out of your internal will to win. And I think that's a super important lesson. Don't waste any time comparing yourself or being jealous about somebody. Use even the person you're competing for a spot with to grow better together, and it's going to be just a better outcome for your team and your culture and everyone. So I circled that. And before I could ask you more about it, you just gave all these examples. So I guess it's good I kept my mouth shut for once. So that's fantastic. Talk about, now you're still playing with the Rise, right?
Right. So yeah, sorry, I didn't even unpack that when I was like, oh, this is my softball career, this is all I did. I forget about everything else. Sorry.
Minor details.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually, so this past summer, I was, you know, I was doing a lot of things. I was working, I was playing, I was in school, and I was, you know, giving lessons at the same time. So I was all over the place this summer. And that was hard. Like it was very difficult to work, play, and then life in general, just, you know. Um, so this past year was the first year of the New York Rise, and it was just like an awesome experience, honestly. Like it was nice to be able, like, again, when we were talking about just having friends or being around people that you want to be around, and I was around them again, you know, I was around a team again. I was around people that just got me, people that, you know, and I'm so thankful for like the experience that I had. I found, I keep finding things on Instagram, but I found their Instagram, and I showed my boyfriend, I'm like, there's a team out of New York that's playing at Hofstra this summer. Like, should I reach out to them? He's like, yeah, what the heck do you have to lose? Like, I mean, you played, you know, in college, and you have all this on your resume. Like, it, I guess it was like scary for me because I was getting back into it. I had been out of softball I was still playing like here and there, pick up leagues, you know, a little here, a little there. The summer before, I played on a team in New York that was an 18U team, and they're like, oh, we need a pitcher. I was like, I'll play with you guys, like, or not 18U, they were 22 and over or whatever. And I was like, yeah, I'll take out the cleats again. I'm getting the itch. So that's how it first started the year before, and then the year after which was last year, I was like, I could do this. Like I've always wanted to do this. Like I want to be able to say I played professional softball in the United States, because that's like, I like, when I finally got the call, that said, you made the team, I like told my dad right away, and I like, we just like started crying together. Like it was just like a moment of like, yeah, like I made it, I did it. And like it was just like, I don't know, something that I always dreamed of, like having that moment. Um and like I said, it's just difficult doing two things at once, because softball's hard and it's tricky, because in the summer, you're it's like, what do you it's hard to have a job and have another job, like but I kind of related it to like school again. Like I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to work. Or I just thought in my head, oh, I'm going to school, and then I have softball at night. Like that's kind of how I had to deal with it. But yeah, it was a great experience. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the summer. And hopefully this year they will start it again. It's been hard because there's the new um, Athletes Unlimited League that they just made their own league, and they have their solid teams now. And then there's kind of like this league, so it's kind of like the majors and like the minors, like not talent wise, but it's just like it's not cohesive right now. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the difficult part about softball. It's never been a solid unit yet. And I think now this year, this hopefully takes off, and they have more teams and there's more people that are involved in it. And it's so awesome seeing the progression of all of it. Because when we were in college, or when I was in high school, I was like, oh, there's a league. And people are like, there's a league? I'm like, yeah, there's a league in, I think it was in Texas. It was like I don't even remember. I just remember one of their, I don't know, maybe they were the Dallas, no, not the Stars. So I don't remember, but there was a league.
Right, to be honest. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, right? I don't know. But, and then even when I was telling people at work or whatever, they're like, oh, there's a professional softball league. I'm like, yeah, there's like a few of them actually. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. So it's so nice to see how much progress as we're almost there,
Great, because I mean, college softball is so popular and exciting and growing so fast.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, the right people get together and figure it out, because there's no reason there shouldn't be a stronger professional league. You'll be a trailblazer.
Yeah, no, it's like it's a dream come true to see what like is going on, and like how much like support is going into it, and all of like, just it makes me happy. Like I just see like all of like the everything going on with it, and like I just can't wait to see where it grows from here. Like we were both leagues were like not involved with each other, which was the hardest part. And then there was another league too that was in Texas last year too, like Texas Smoke or whatever, and they were in their own league. So it was just like, when are we gonna add 2 + 2, make it 3, like I don't know. That's just like, I guess there's there's so many girls that want to play, they want to show their talents, and they want to, so I'm just hoping everything just, hopefully 4 teams this year, hopefully 8 teams next year,
Fired up listening to you talk about it. So
I'm fired up. I'm sweating now.
No, that's awesome. I guess real quick though, like tell us about your other job that you have, because that's very cool.
Yeah, no, so I'm a groundskeeper for the New York Mets. It's like weird to say, because I'm like, how did I even end up in this role? I don't even I don't even know how this happened, you know. But to talk about it, I was a substitute teacher, and I thought I wanted to go back to school, get my master's, to be an art teacher. And I love kids, but I was like, this is not the path like I want to take. I think it's like it felt like too comfortable for me. I think because I moved back, and I moved back to my hometown, and I was substituting at my old middle school. I was like, all right, I need to move along. I need to get out of my hometown, you know. Um, so then my friend that I played with in high school, she was groundskeeping in college. She went to NYIT and played softball there. And she was going there after softball, and she was working there, and she would work the games, and I had texted her in like January um of 2022, and I was like, hey, I'm really looking to like be in the sports industry. I don't know who else to like contact. Like I knew that she was, you know, working with the Mets, and I was like, can you like try and get my resume somewhere? Like I got my master's in sports hospitality management during my COVID year. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I was like, I want to work in sports. Like I want to continue, obviously, to work in something that I like. And she was like, okay, how about you just try the grounds like crew? It's fun. It's just nights. You can work during the day, go there at night, and see how that works out. And at first, I was like, I don't really want to do the like. I don't want to be on the grounds crew. Like, what? That sounds like weird. But I was like, all right. Like, I don't know. When I would tell people, they're like, oh my god, that's so awesome. Like, yeah, you know. But I got there, and I was like, I just like loved it. I was like, this just like feels like, you know, I'm back on the field again. Like I'm, you know, I mean, I was back on the field, but I was mowing the grass. Like I was, it was a little different feeling. Um, but no, I loved it. I like had an absolute blast. Like every night, like was like awesome to go to work. I was like, can't wait to go to work. Can't like when I had that like motivation, I was like, oh my god, like this is like something like I can see myself doing. Like this is awesome. So, like I said before first recording, I was like, can I please work here? Really want to work here. Just give me a shot. I'll be like your hardest worker, I swear. um, and yeah, so I ended up getting like a position that was it's a 10-month position, so I'm kind of I'm not there for January and February, but because there's no work to be done. But yeah, I get to, like I said, I get to mow the grass. I get to put all the shale on the field, get the field ready, paint the lines, all the fun stuff that comes with Major League Baseball. It's just weird. It's weird being out there. I'm like, oh, you know, just walking around, and Shohei Ohtani's walking past me. It's like, okay, this it's just it's like I don't know. I don't really like think about it. I guess like I put myself as an athlete as well, so I'm like, you know, we're on the same level, kind of. Not really, but
Oh, it's so cool. That's
yeah.
awesome.
No,
Had
it's
to make sure we touched on that before we
oh
end it.
yeah,
How cool.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Shout out to Drew.
Oh yeah, Drew. So Drew Romansky was my neighbor growing up. My dad and I obviously lived right across the street from us, and he met Sarah through the grounds crew. So I'm really glad he could connect us. Yeah.
that's awesome. As we close out, I think it's amazing your story, but I think everywhere you were at, from high school to Hofstra to Alabama to the grounds crew to the New York Rise, I don't think you ever pictured yourself being there. It just sort of happened. And I don't mean happen like the stars align. That's the result of doing all the little things the right way. And it just keeps giving you more and more opportunities. And we'll have you, I want to have you on again in the future, because who knows what you'll be doing then, you know?
Yeah, no.
Be an
No,
astronaut or something. I don't know.
Hopefully, yeah.
So
Oh,
this was fantastic. Thank you for coming on.
yes, thank you for making it full circle there. I like how you connected all the points there. No, it's been awesome talking to you guys. Oh my gosh.
That's why I take all my notes. Look at that mess. Allie, I think I could sell these on Etsy or something. Podcast.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Sarah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. No, thank you guys for having me. It's been awesome to kind of share my story, and I've never really got to, I mean, I tell people my story, but I haven't like expressed it in the way that I have on here. I feel at ease with, everything like we've talked about. And um thank you. Just seriously, thank you for having me here and getting to listen a little bit about me. And I'm sure, I don't know. I'd love to be back wherever I'm doing, I don't know. This was fun. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Absolutely. You bet. Hey, take care.
All right. Have a good night.